Submit. Well, that was easy. Where does my record actually go? So that might be a question you're wondering. Where does the record go? Well, my name's Simon and I'm the Database Development Officer here at the Sheffield and Rollin Wildlife Trust. And I'm here to answer that very question for you. So let's think about this. Let's draw a little diagram of where your record. So say you've been out and you've seen a very lovely tree species. Maybe it was an oak, maybe it was a birch. And you've taken a picture and you've gone home and you've gone on a website and submitted the record to Nature Counts. So your record goes up to Nature Counts, which I will just write as NC in our little diagram here. So what does it do in Nature Counts? So all sorts of people can access it in Nature Counts within the Sheffield and Rollin Wildlife Trust. So people who go out and need to know about our reserves, reserve staff, or people who are trying to design what's the best way we can conserve nature in the area. They can access your records and they can use that information to make sure that they're making the best decisions for wildlife. But we don't actually just hold your record, we pass it on to an organisation called the Biological Record Centre. So I will write this down in our diagram as the BRC. Or I put it B. BRC, not the BBC. That's where your telly comes from. We're talking about the BRC. So the BRC have a big database, and I'm talking millions of records. You've submitted one or two, they've got millions, and it's fantastic. And it doesn't just sit in their big database. The BRC sends your record onto wildlife experts to get to make sure that it is what you say it is. So we've got our wildlife expert here, denoted by this wonderful stick man. Say you've submitted a tree, and the BRC goes, we've got a tree record. We're going to send it to our expert in trees. So they send the record to the expert. This expert will then look at the picture that you've sent, and they'll use their expert knowledge about trees, and they will say, yes, that is the right species, or no, I don't think that's quite right. And they'll send that information back to the BRC. This means if someone uses your record for a big scientific analysis, they can be doubly sure that the record that you've submitted is the correct species. Now the BRC, they also don't just hold their data, they can share it with people. So they share it with small organisations called Local Environmental Record Centres. So these we will write on our map as LERCs, the LERCs. And there's a little arrow. So the Local Environment Record Centres are like local knowledge bases. They know all about the local area and they collect data about it, what species have been seen where. This means if someone wants to know something about the wildlife in the local area, they can go to one of these local environment record centres and they can request all this information. So if we're like the nature detectives, they're like the nature librarians, organising things and making sure people can access the right stuff. Another way that interested people can access data is through the National Biodiversity Network Atlas. And we'll write this on as the NBN. So the BRC share our data with the National Biodiversity Network Atlas. They're like the top level nature librarians and they have an awful lot of records. And anyone can go onto the website, you can go onto the website in fact, and you can search for a particular species and you can work out how many records there are in your local area or anywhere in the UK about this particular species. So if you're really interested in your birch species and you want to know, have other people been seeing birch as well? Or maybe there's another species you're interested in, like butterflies. You can go on the NBN Atlas and you can search for species and you can work out where they are and who's seen them. So there we have it, the wonderful adventure that your biological record goes on. It doesn't just sit in a database, it gets used by all sorts of different people and it can travel through all these different organisations to making sure that it gives us the best benefit in terms of understanding the natural world. So there you are. When you press submit, whilst you might go on with the rest of your day, your record is off helping science.